Yep.
Was it a surprise to you to see Pep go 4-3-3?
A little bit.
And to play Jesus, man. He hasn't played Jesus for like months, and
Yep,
then,
correct.
he calls on Jesus just at the final hour,
And and clearly it paid off.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the El and Jerry podcast with my compadre, Alejandro.
What's up, brother? What's up, guys? How are you all doing? Hope everybody is doing well and fine, and hope everybody's heart rate is still beeping at the same beats because of the game at the Etihad.
Yeah. What a game, man. Like,
What a game.
just completely end-to-end stuff, right? Basically. I think the best sort of two of the best teams with two of the best coaches, and
In the world, I think.
Yeah, two of the best. In the world.
What
That's
do you think?
contentious, but yeah. I mean, I'm inclined to agree because I don't see, a lot of teams putting like the sort of numbers that Pep's and Klopp's teams put,
Exactly.
in a way. I
Exactly.
guess the
Yep.
teams that are dangerous this year, I think the biggest one actually would be Madrid. I think Madrid and Benzema have like but I do think they're one-dimensional there a little bit with Benzema. But
Yep.
I think
This
the
is a team
intensity that
game,
you
huh?
get from that games, I mean, the fact that it was very close to two draws, right? Both the games, as in the latest game over the weekend and the first game that they met in
Yeah.
Anfield. The fact that it was
Yeah, correct.
a draw, I think, just shows you the fact that it was close games. And yeah, I mean, what did you get from that game? Because to be honest, I felt that City were the better team, and I feel they had the better chances, I think, on the day itself. I think the first half they completely controlled the first half. Because was it a surprise to you to see Pep go 4-3-3?
A little bit.
And to play Jesus, man. He hasn't played Jesus for like months, and then
correct.
he calls on Jesus just at the final hour,
And and clearly it paid off. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
I thought the two teams, I think when we talk about the lineups, maybe City's lineup was a little bit of a shocker in certain areas. I did think that he would have started with Mahrez to sort of test the left back of Liverpool, or the left side of Liverpool, but he didn't, and he started with Jesus and Sterling and of course Foden as well. Liverpool's lineup, I think, was pretty standard. They put out the best team that I think every position is at Liverpool's best positioning player for that team, right?
Yeah,
maybe
it was almost the same team that played in the first the first
correct
game,
first game. Yeah, I agree with you. I think on the day, City, could feel a little bit more hard done by. I think they had,
especially in that first half. I felt
the first half.
The first half. If I can add before you end that, end that point, I felt the reason why I said they were better team is because, like, I mean, Pep hardly goes for 4-3-3, right? And
correct.
It seems like he wanted to go hit man. I mean, face Liverpool man for man.
Correct.
As in, and that generally opened up more spaces. I remember like mentioning also to our producer and Sid, before the game, I said, looking at the team sheets, I said, I don't think it would be a 0-0 game. I said I felt it would be a high scoring game because on paper it looked like both teams with both the team sheets there was a lot of space there to be exploited, right? It was just which team was going to exploit the space. And evidently, City started using what Liverpool are famous for, which is balls over the top and balls in behind and sort of the quick counter attacking play,
Right.
And to be fair, I felt City were had the better side of the luck. I think when that shot from De Bruyne got deflected.
De Bruyne,
Yeah. But in that first half, I feel that City were the ones who were applying the most pressure, and I think I felt it was backs against the wall for that first half for Liverpool. And I felt that first goal also, the equalizer. I mean, what an equalizer! First goal deflection went in, De Bruyne, good goal. But that
yeah,
equalizer, I think it was Robert. You see, it came in the second phase of play. First phase,
yeah.
Salah sort of mispassed the ball, and then second phase it came to Robertson, and Robertson straight crossed it to Arnold. Arnold passed it to
Great
Jota.
ball, by the
So,
way. Great
yeah,
ball.
and it isn't
Yeah,
that sort of a typical Liverpool goal. I mean, both the
exactly,
fullbacks combining to create that goal,
exactly.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
everybody
what do
was.
you think the well in the first half
Oh
and the
no,
fact that
definitely,
City were the
definitely.
more dominant team?
Yeah, no, I feel the same like you as well. I thought City in the first half were injuring Liverpool in certain areas of the pitch, lah. I would say that,
Right. Especially on
but
the right
you
hand
know,
side. Lah.
especially on City's right,
Mm,
Liverpool's left. There
mm.
was even a time I felt that even Virgil van Dijk, now we hardly say this, and because he's such a towering defender, his
Yeah.
recovery towards the game in certain places was he needed help. That's why if you realize Robertson was playing closely to him because of the channels that Jesus and Sterling were running.
Yeah.
And in the first half, I thought tactically City spot on lah, right? But
Right.
we I think the theme for this week is the clinical approach by teams lah. Liverpool, Robertson really with a touch of class too, and all of City's defenders were ball watching, or rather Arnold watching, and Trent just simple pass to Jota, and Jota makes it
Yeah.
1-1. Obviously, very
Yeah.
good goal lah. Very good goal. It was like an uppercut, that Liverpool just gave out of nowhere,
Yeah.
and
Like a boxing match.
and
It's like
exactly. The boxing match was where I think City were throwing in the punches, obviously, but
like Rocky and
Liverpool with
Ivan.
the punches which matter. Exactly, punches that matter. And the second half, I gave a bun to eat. I was hungry after the whole match. As though I was playing, but I myself was hungry, and I took my stuff, and boom, 2-2. I think what's
Yeah.
going on, right? And
Yeah.
and and
Yeah.
very good goal also, by the way. I thought Salah the whole 90 minutes, maybe because his standards are so high, was a little bit quiet. I thought City really Cancelo and all really guarded him and made him
Yeah.
quiet. But what a good ball to Mane, by the way, underrated, man. I mean, we
Yeah. I
talk
think
about
that was a great
Salah.
pass as well.
Yeah, we talk about
Scoring,
Salah's
right?
goal
Usually.
scoring.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what a great pass. I mean, I thought that was really a good pass to Mane. Eye of the needle kind of stuff. I mean, all round, I think if you think about it over the 90 minutes, obviously City are going to be happy with the draw, happier with the draw. Obviously, Liverpool needed to win the game, and but it's still a long way to go, man. I mean, long way to go. When I say it, I mean it as a sense where I think there's still a lot of twists and turns. Still, I don't think it's a given that City are going to win this now, or Liverpool are going to, overtake them or whatsoever. I think we're still in for some talks. But yeah, I mean, overall, the reason why I say best two teams, club teams in the world going against each other is because we don't say the same about the El Clasico anymore. I think
Yeah.
this
This year especially, I think Barca has had a
yeah,
very late resurgence, and we can't say the same
correct,
about Bayern Dortmund either.
correct. So I think these two, in terms of quality, I mean, they're not really rivals, so you don't get the whole spectacle of it. But in terms of the quality of the game, I tell you, dude, it was next level stuff. I mean, as a neutral watching this,
Yeah.
you just gotta the 90 minutes, the final whistle, you just gotta say, oh, well done to both of them. Obviously,
Both teams. Yeah.
what an effort. What an effort. Great
Yeah, I said it was
entertainment.
contentious at the start, but actually I
Yeah.
disagree. I mean, it's pretty obvious,
Yeah.
like the best two teams. I mean, we're doing a
Right.
Premier League podcast and stuff like that. We've
Correct.
got to go full support for the Premier League teams, right?
Yeah.
Even
Definitely. That's
in
a good
Europe.
thing. Good thing. Long time
I
coming.
mean, I commend Real Madrid this year and and Benzema's exploits. But I think City and Liverpool are on different level, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure,
Yeah.
and you could see that in the game. I just felt in that Liverpool, I think even for that second goal that Jesus scored, right, for City,
Mm.
I felt that was one of the reasons why Trent sometimes is seen as a weakness in the team. I think that should
Yeah.
be
A bit of a
mentioned.
switch off.
It's
A
like,
bit of a switch off.
yeah, he switched off definitely because the thing is, it happens sometimes during the corners, during counter attacks, right, and during different moments in the match where Robertson and Trent switch flanks, right. So maybe at that moment, Robertson's guarding someone in the back post. So in that moment,
Yeah.
Trent was defending at left back, basically,
Yeah.
right? And he just let Jesus run. He didn't follow the run now. I didn't try to give him
Yeah.
any sort of pressure. I think he felt
Yeah.
maybe Allison might pull off the save and everything. And that was a really sharp goal by Jesus itself. What a
Yeah.
delicate touch.
Exactly.
A good cross
Exactly.
from Cancelo. So I
Mm.
think that's the only sort of complaints, or this the only sort of, I guess, uh disadvantage, I guess you could pull out from that whole game. I think
Mm.
midfield wise also City dominated the midfield because of De Bruyne, Rodri,
Yeah.
and Silva. I think they're just a better midfield, and it definitely exposed Liverpool's midfield on that day, because I felt that Henderson, Thiago, and Fabinho, especially Fabinho in that first half, right? Because City were playing so advanced and they're playing with that 4-3-3, right? And they could mark you man
Yeah.
for man. I feel that final press that Fabinho usually, that final press that Liverpool have, right? Which is
Yeah. Yeah.
Fabinho, was being exploited quite a lot, and
Quite a
was
lot. Yeah.
forcing
Yeah.
Fabinho to make mistakes, and that first goal
Mm.
arise from that as well.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
in the second half, what Klopp asked the team to do is to push higher, so that
Because City have a
you
high
don't
line as
allow
well.
City exactly. So
Uh,
we sort of matched them in their high line, and that's when that
mm.
counter came, in that
Mm.
second goal, which was ruled out by VAR. I think VAR and Sterling have just no luck.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I know. I mean, the City
Not
fans
the
were
first goal
complaining
that
about this
VAR,
decision.
yeah, exactly. Not the first goal that VAR has ruled off from Raheem Sterling.
Yep.
I think
Yep. Yep.
throwback to that quarterfinal with Spurs, right?
The
I
Spurs
mean,
game, isn't it?
yeah, that
There
was
was a
mad
yeah a bit of a
madness.
banter moment there for City.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But I think what a game, man! What a game, man!
Mm. Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
I think only the best, I think, will be able to compete at that level, and it was
Yeah.
definitely the best at display on that day
Yeah.
itself. And the good thing about this result is that it doesn't change anything. Nothing was changed, I guess, in that way. And I think it'll be all down to the teams now. With Liverpool, I think their next two games are Everton and United, so I think that will be the biggest test. I think City will
Mm.
have a few tests along the way. I think that last game that they play against Aston Villa
Aston
could
Villa's
be
tricky
could be
one.
fighting with them.
Yeah. Correct.
Did
Yeah.
you see
It's a
a
bit of a
Coutinho
tricky
90-minute winner to win it?
Oh man, I mean, I'm not ruling that out. Weirder things have happened.
It's possible, right?
Might
It's
be.
possible.
Might be.
For
Might
Liverpool
be.
fans, they'll be hoping that Coutinho can, have a masterclass against City on the last game of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Exactly. But great game all round. I think 5 star.
Yeah,
I would give
what
it
an
a five
advert
star.
for the Premier League. So
Yeah.
moving on to, want to move on to the red team in Manchester.
Ooh.
Or you want to move on to the red team in London first? Both red teams this
I
this
mean,
this weekend
I
didn't really.
the one thing I could say when we move on either to Arsenal or Man United, that we started off with this quality aspect being so dominant and this and that, and all of a sudden going to Everton, Man United is like, oh my goodness, it's like a downer lah. I would say that
Yeah,
was I don't even know where to start, man. I mean, the one thing about
yeah,
these two teams, if we do start with Everton United, I think
yeah.
the thing is, dude, Everton and Man United have spent over the last 5-6 years a good amount of money to put out that sort of show for people to watch. I mean, seriously,
Mhm.
goodness gracious me. I mean, I don't know where to begin, Jerry. I mean, this was just basically two real rubbish teams going against each other, because Everton's been
Yeah,
not very good, United's
yeah,
been dreadful, and
yeah.
I mean, it's just calamity affair all over the pitch. I think Everton got the goal, obviously, and United didn't even really trouble them, and Everton has been poor this whole season, man. I mean, not Jordan Pickford barely had a save, and and Man United were poor. Everton were not able to. Calvert-Lewin didn't do much. Richarlison didn't do much. It's almost a friendly match, sort of like a soccer 8-11 kind of a thing going on there.
Right,
And
right.
I mean, the way I see it is that Arsenal and Man United. Arsenal, I don't know what's happened over the Palace and Brighton game. Man United also is as though these teams don't want top four, and Arsenal have the ascendancy, so that's another shocker as well. Man United has been really dreadful, and the manager came out after the game saying, if this is how we're going to perform, then this team should not get top four. Ralph Rangnick is very straightforward. There's no real hanky panky, straight in his words. And obviously Lampard ecstatic because it does wonders. If we can talk about Everton, I think it does wonders for them. The 3 points is huge for them. It might even be an ignition for the season.
Yeah,
it
and
might
the
even
fact
be
that
something.
Burnley lost as well, so I think it was a good result for Everton fans, But I guess fight was shown from Everton, But I think the biggest head scratcher I think for United fans is how they didn't get a goal until right the very end, right? I think that's the biggest thing there in that situation, and I think Lampard Everton was definitely wanting to prove a point, after that loss against Burnley. I think that loss would have come quite bad, but now they're sort of on even. I mean, they've evened that whole game out. The fact that they've won and Burnley have lost, and I think it's a big shock that came against United, and it's like I think that all the problems are compounding now. I think United can't even keep a clean sheet off the pitch. I mean, Ronaldo with that whole situation with the fan and everything,
That's that we don't like to see all those things. I mean,
exactly.
sometimes it's the emotion that goes into it also. But
Yeah,
I mean, Cristiano is Cristiano lah. I mean, I think better could have been expected. Obviously, he came up with a statement. Right after the game, inviting the Evertonian to watch United. I don't know that's a good idea or not. I mean, the guy just had his phone smashed, and you're asking him to come and watch United. I don't know which is worse. It's like, so
it's not really gonna be much of a reward, basically.
it's not much of a reward there. I mean,
Yeah. I think he should sign a shirt and give it to him. I think
exactly.
He should
do the
worth
job
a lot more than United's performance at the moment right now.
at the moment.
Unfortunately, that's the situation. But I guess a lot of United fans are looking forward towards next season and seeing what is the opportunity. Equally as Everton fans, seeing whether there is some opportunity here for, if they do beat the drop and they do stay up, for Lampard to probably push them high up the table and give the Everton fans what they feel they deserve. But definitely, I think recruitment, you could say for both teams, recruitment is a big question mark here. Who are they recruiting and whether they have recruited the right players and who are they going to recruit in the future? I think that's very important because you can spend all the money, like I said just now, but if your recruitment's not on point, then it's not going to work out. Simple as, right?
No, United's recruitment has been woeful. Has been really, really woeful, and I think that's the major problem now. And I also think that whatever new manager that comes in, I think you've got to give him time. I think this is where United really should open up their eyes, fans, the whole board, everything. I think honestly, if you look at it personally and the way I see it, if it's going to be Eric Ten Hag, I would say this now, Jerry, because I'm trying to get in with the news and trying to watch a bit of the Eredivisie, and I think that the way this fella plays, the little that I've watched Ajax, I think Man United are going to struggle for a long time, at least a whole season, before we start seeing some fruition. So it might be a whole Liverpool City scenario where, when Guardiola first came, Klopp first came, the football was not really that good. The football was, in fact, some games really bad. And I'm suspecting we're going to see the same thing because a lot of these players cannot play that sort of style. A lot of these players, I think they've reached their ceiling. I don't think players like Fred, McTominay, I know he didn't play the other day. A lot of them are not going to be able to play this sort of football, and they've very much reached their peak. I think players like Harry Maguire, I think he we all know he has got a pace issue, and Varane keeps on getting injured. Luke Shaw is off form. Wan-Bissaka can't cross the ball for his life. Fred's doing okay. I wouldn't want to get on his back. Ronaldo is 37 years old. Bruno Fernandes seems to be everywhere on the pitch except for scoring. So the problems mount on. De Gea can't pass the ball. So it's going to take a long time. I think it's the start of something good if they plan it right and get it right. But it's a process. I think that's what I can say for Man United.
Right. Yeah. So moving on, I guess, from that game to other potential top four suitors, the challenges for the top four itself.
Yeah.
I think Arteta, is it Arteta out again? I'm not too sure, man. Because I
Oh
see,
man, I mean,
see
this
some
is like
Arsenal
a.
fans losing their minds already, But yeah, to be fair, I think the two games against Crystal Palace and Brighton for them, not to
Mm,
come away, not to score a goal and to come away with,
mm,
two,
mm,
3 goals against Crystal Palace and 2 goals against Brighton. I think, a lot of fans are unhappy about that for sure.
mm.
But I think definitely Arsenal do miss Thomas Partey. They missed, I
Yeah.
think, Kieran Tierney on that day because Xhaka played left back, and it was
Mm.
Lokonga and who else was it? Lokonga
Yeah.
and
Sambi Lokonga didn't have a good game at all.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Mm,
And that midfield, I think needed help. It was Lokonga and Odegaard, if I'm not mistaken, in that
mm,
midfield,
mm,
and Emil Smith Rowe, and I think it just shows you in the Premier League how
mm,
important it is to have a stable and secure midfield.
mm.
Like you see with what City have, with what
Yeah.
Liverpool have to a certain extent, even what Chelsea have with Kante and Jorginho. A lot of games they might not score goals, but they are still they can dictate the game, control the game with
Yeah.
their midfield.
Correct.
And I feel that's what
Correct.
Arsenal missed for the 2 games against Crystal Palace and Brighton. You see, just
Yeah.
not having Thomas Partey on the pitch made a big difference, man. And like they just looked like they couldn't control the game at all. And Brighton were like, you know, dominating and scoring goals.
Yeah.
And you can't have like, I think Bissouma especially, he was bullying Arsenal a lot.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You're
And
right.
it
You're right.
seems
Yeah.
like, yeah, it seems like it's quite funny that you see I think what a lot of Arsenal fans are upset about is the fact that Arteta has banished Guendouzi and Saliba from the squad, right? And those are 2 players they could have really benefited from in this whole situation where they did make the right recruitment, they did, but they've had recurring injury problems, with like
Mm,
Tierney especially, and
yeah.
I think Tavares also. Tavares. You see, I mean, he does not trust Nuno Tavares to a point where he's played Xhaka at left back,
Mm,
and
mm.
forgotten him in that midfield. So it just shows you that right now itself that they are running out of options and they don't have the options, right? And I
Yeah.
heard an
Arsenal's
Arsenal
depth
fan.
is a problem now.
Yeah, I think
Mm,
that's the problem, Al.
mm,
And what I
mm,
heard an Arsenal fan say that Arteta has sort of lost that French connection that Wenger has tried to build for so long, with him
mm,
banishing Guendouzi from the squad. And both of
mm.
them, I mean, Guendouzi and Saliba being two of Marseille's like best players this season. What do you think about that? Do you think that's true? Do you think Arteta has this situation where maybe sometimes he can be a bit too um, stubborn in his ways or set in his ways,
I
or do you think they should trust the process and let him make the decisions and sort of move on from the way Arsenal used to be to something that's different now?
I would like to see Arsenal backing Arteta lah. I mean, I know fans. The one thing I don't like about football fandom is that when results don't go your way, then there's always this whole picking out of
Overreaction.
things that happened in
It's
the past.
overreaction,
Yeah, yeah.
basically. Yeah.
The one thing I don't like about football fandom is that sometimes the overreaction is just a little bit over the top, lah. I
Right.
think I
Right.
think when it
Yes.
comes to like for example, Arsenal didn't score over the weekend, but Aubameyang scored. Barcelona played, I think, and I think he
Yeah.
scored the goal, and
I think he's
Twitter was
had
exploding.
9 goals. I think 8 or 9 goals for Barcelona,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
since he left Arsenal, have had 12 goals.
But the thing is, Jerry, he's not been doing it for Arsenal. You see, so
Yeah.
he's
Yes.
had the opportunities. It's not to say he doesn't have the opportunities. Yeah. So, but I think Arsenal lacks certain areas of the pitch in terms of quality to take them forward. Like
Right.
I see them struggling. You see, they didn't necessarily play badly against Liverpool at
Yeah.
home, but they lost the game, I think, in key areas where their quality is lacking. I think when they face teams like Palace and Brighton, where, to be very honest, Graham Potter and Patrick Vieira, I think they have done really well this season. I think
Yeah. Yeah.
they've
To be
they
fair.
very structured team, and you were saying just now Bissouma and everything. So this long-standing argument about Arsenal not being physical enough. I think Partey has added some steel, definitely, but they have got to get a bit more of that. I think they've got to add a bit more quality because I am supporting Arteta. I mean, when I'm looking at it right now over the course of the changes that have been made, I think there is something there. I didn't see it at the start of the season. I mean, we can look back at the archives, but
Yeah.
right now, I think he has to be supported. I think he's got to be backed. That's the way it is. He has to be back in the summer. And if he is, and if we see it with Liverpool, they got Alisson, they got Van Dijk, whole world of a difference, to the whole team. They went up 5-6 steps above. And if Arsenal can get the same sort of recruitment right, I think they would be much closer to Chelsea, Liverpool, and City. Maybe not win it yet, maybe not win the title yet, but they're there, lah. They're on the way. So I would like him to be supported. But obviously, at the moment, results are not going well. They shouldn't have lost against Brighton for sure, home game, with top 4 in the balance. But we'll have to see next game. Pressure is there. Pressure is on Arsenal because now Spurs are ahead, and which only makes the North London derby, I think, monumental.
Yeah, it's gonna be a crazy derby. It's gonna be a good derby to watch. So moving on, I think we can just slowly end off with Spurs here. I mean, great performance, clinical performance, and
very clinical performance.
Yeah, and exactly what you would see from Kane and Son. I think we've slept on them this year after they had such a good season last year. But I think Conte has quietly been getting the results in the past few weeks.
He's slowly also started off a bit of a sticky start, but Spurs. I mean, I saw a rerun of this game, and you know what, Villa were knocking on the door. This is not like the scoreline would flatters a little bit, and where we might think, Spurs dominant as usual. But I think the right word you said is clinical. I think Aston Villa had lots of the ball on the day. Spurs maybe lesser, but Spurs did more on the ball as compared to Villa, and obviously the right parts of the pitch.
You're right, actually, because Villa had 52% possession and Spurs had 48%.
Exactly. So Spurs very clinical on the day. Harry Kane, at the right time. Son, of course, some parts of it unplayable. And that guy Kulusevski, the January signing of the season, I think. I would say fantastic signing for Spurs. What a signing. Exactly.
I think he had 2 assists on the day, if I'm not mistaken. A goal and assist on the day, I think.
He did.
Yeah, it was a goal and assist on the day. Yeah. And I think Kane's assist for Son as well was really good. I mean, ironically, they've won their last 4 games, so 4 games wins on the bounce, and that's been really good. Ironically, their last lost game against United, which was that 3-2 match, right?
Yeah.
So ever since then, I think Conte has just made a little bit of a change there in the way they play as well. And with that midfield as well, because what he does is he plays Højbjerg and Bentancur there. He's placed quite a lot of trust in Bentancur and the new signings that he's gotten, to be fair. And I think that midfield of Højbjerg and Bentancur has paid off because, that last game that they had against Villa, I think was a really good game for them to actually dominate that midfield against John McGinn and Douglas Luiz as well,
Conte is doing a good job at Spurs thus far. I mean, I thought
with the personnel that he has, with the people and the players that he has, I think he's doing a good job.
Definitely.
It'll be interesting to see whether this is a battle for top 4 between United, Arsenal, and Spurs. I think it's still hanging in the balance. I wouldn't call it just yet, but it's definitely interesting. So, aside from that, other results on the day,
Chelsea got a big win as well.
Yeah, Chelsea got a big win as well. And I think they've sort of solidifying that that third spot, right?
Yeah.
Not wanting to give it up away. And I think it was a good break for Werner as well. I think Werner had a really good game. And I think he was probably one of Chelsea's better players.
He needed it.
And for Mount as well. I think that Madrid game maybe came up as a wake-up call. Maybe we might see a little bit more, because it's important that players like Werner and Mount, right, take responsibility in the team and start, getting the goals and getting the assists, because they are the main attackers of the team, and it seems like that Lukaku thing was an experiment, because we were both bigging him up, man, this season, because we felt the right time for him to make the move, but it's just that he's just made a lot of wrong decisions on the way, and I wouldn't say wrong decisions, but decisions that are self-sabotaging. I think he's sabotaged himself, I think, along the way, You
I
think
think
that
I think with the
Lukaku thing is
I think
gonna
with the
be
Lukaku experiment, sorry,
yeah.
Jerry, I think with it might look like it's not really working out. I mean, I know it's a bit premature to say it after one season, but you're right, like on the way, the whole Inter Milan thing and everything was
Yeah,
really
because
uncalled for.
I'm saying this on the basis that there have been reports that he wants to move away by the end of the
Mm,
season.
mm,
You know, I don't doubt that he might be able to come back. I mean,
yeah.
from a performance standpoint,
Mm.
and from a football standpoint, but
I mean, could be
Mhm.
it could be moves for big players and big teams. Like, I mean, Lukaku is not really worked out. Ronaldo is, busting up handphones. So could be, could be, could
Yeah,
be, could be big players going off in the summer as well. Yeah, man. I mean, totally, it could
yeah,
happen.
could happen, could happen. But
Mm,
I think what really ruined it for the Chelsea fans is him doing that interview, and basically
yeah,
just speaking
agreed.
about Chelsea to the press instead of
Mm,
just
mm,
keeping it within the team.
yeah,
Or
correct.
I think even if he came up with a public statement to the fans,
Mm,
like a letter to the fans stating that about what he feels and everything, I think it would have been
mm.
fine. But it's just that whole like interview, it seemed like a Lukaku podcast.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Like the
exactly. Like that
Lukaku
was really
experience,
uncalled for.
the
That
Lukaku
was really
Chelsea
uncalled for.
experience. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that definitely sort of left a bit of a bitter taste on the Chelsea fans' tongues. So I feel that yeah, I think the other players in the squad like Mount and Werner and Havertz right now need to step up, and
Mm,
prove
mm,
that Chelsea do have the players to even get us goals and to dominate games and to because a team like Chelsea shouldn't be winning the game like 2-0 or 2-1 or 1-0, right? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
with the strength in depth that they have, they could be getting the goals and we could be seeing a little bit of resurgence, a late season resurgence from Chelsea. Obviously, their
Could be.
game against Real Madrid in the quarters, I think that would be a big game for them. I think if
Mm,
they can
mm,
get through that, it would really lift up the team and they could end the season very strongly,
mm, mm.
based on that performance. I think that performance itself should serve as sort of like a benchmark for what is to come.
You, you,
Also, a
you
few
think you think
honorable, yeah.
sorry, I want to ask you something. You think they can get something out of the Bernabeu? You think they can?
I think they can.
All
I
right.
think they can. I think they have to be smart in the way they defend Benzema because I feel Real
Mm,
Madrid is one-dimensional, right? With
yep.
Benzema there.
Yep.
Without Benzema, they don't look like they have much of a threat, to be honest. I
Mm,
feel with a
mm,
goal scoring threat. I think Vinicius is all right, but I think
mm,
Vinicius functions best with Benzema in the team.
mm,
And it's all
mm.
dependent on how they deal with that threat. Because with the first leg, there's no false sense of security here. There's no like,
Yeah.
oh, the first leg was all right. Let's see. They know fully well that Benzema is the threat from that first leg as well.
Correct.
So they
Correct.
know
Correct.
they know what they're up against in the second leg. They just
Yeah.
have to try and nullify Benzema
Yeah.
definitely. But I think they have to come up with an attacking game plan to even like go there
They
and get
can't
the result.
concede.
Yeah, they
They
can't
can't
go
concede for
defensive.
sure.
They can't go
Yeah.
defensive. They have to go
Yeah.
attacking. And I think coming up with attacking gameplay in the Bernabeu would be a challenge, but I think that would be the
Mm,
best for some form of defense for them. If they
mm,
want to keep that score the way it is, they'd have to be the ones attacking, and I think they do have the team for that. They just have to try. But like I said, it could be a late season resurgence for
mm,
Chelsea. So other honourable mentions go to Newcastle with a 1-0 win against Wolves. I think that was a really good result
mm. Big results for them as
for
well.
Newcastle, who look like they're climbing up the table and it look like they're sort of going to ensure their safety. Same goes with Leeds United. I think it was a good 3-0 win against Watford, their fellow um, relegation battlers.
Mm,
Especially with
mm.
that new coach Jesse March. Interesting to see what he can do. I think it was a good
Yep.
game by Leicester and Norwich as well,
Mm,
and Brentford, who all three got the wins. And another good performance from Dewsbury Hall, in Leicester. I
mm.
think he deserves a mention. I think we've seen
Oh
his
yeah.
name
Yeah. He
for the
does.
past few weeks, but I think that game really showed his potential. I think it was a good game for them. So that's
Mm,
all we have this week for Alan Jerry. Just a short one today. We will be back again next week with another recording. So till then, take care and ciao.
Till then, take care, guys. Ciao. Take care. See you all soon.